Boom! What's going on, Investomaniacs? Your boy Knight Rider here, and I'm back and better than ever. And we are finally concluding coronavirus, at least with me personally. In my little mind, this is the conclusion video. Now, I wanted to wait until the market fully recovered, but let's be honest. I mean, that could potentially still be like another year or two until we're literally back up to like pre-corona highs. So that's not going to happen. Okay. So let's just go ahead and say we're close enough. We've recovered enough. The large majority of the recovery has happened. So let's just do the conclusion video. Here we go. So at the conclusion of February 21st of 2020, my portfolio had $321,500. The market, or the SPY was at 333.5. The SPY is currently at 304.3. So the market is still down 8.7%. All right. So remember that we're still down 8.7%. My portfolio is up 5.6%. And I'm at 339.4 right now. I've made almost $18,000. So if you just look at the big picture and don't pay attention to anything in between, you just look from beginning to end, you say, okay, the market's down 8.7%. I'm up 5.6%. That's 14.3% alpha over the market. Okay, good enough for the first time you've ever tried to navigate a market crash night. Good enough. But let's go into a little bit more detail. So first of all, I was not trying to pay attention really to individual stocks during the market crash because I thought it was going to negatively influence me in terms of getting positive too long. But when I did, the very first time, I said, you know what? I think the market's near a bottom. I'm going to start looking at individual stocks. The first stock I looked at was Roku, because I've said in prior videos or in comments, I'm like, the first stock I'm probably going to get long is Roku. I looked at it on March 17th, which was exactly the day it bottomed. And I looked at it even near the bottom. I looked at it and it was $60 and something cents. I looked at it sub 61, which is down about here. Look at that. I would have hit almost the exact bottom, but I was stupid and I decided to not get long. I should have got long here. I literally said to myself, Knight, this is a generational buy right here. If you buy it here, sub 61, you can double your money in less than 2 years. I said that to myself. This is almost a guarantee of doubling your money in 2 years. I didn't pull the trigger because I'm stupid. You know, I couldn't do it. There's also an indicator that I pay attention to. I don't want to disclose what it is because, I mean, for selfish purposes, obviously more people who know what it is, it's going to be less effective. But I'm not a technical guy. There's very few technical things or indicators or anything like that I pay attention to. But this is one which has historically done quite well in situations like this. It is something I pay attention to. And around this time, I can't see like the days of I remember what day of the week it was, and it was somewhere around here, like basically at the exact bottom. And it was like, you need to get long right now. And I just ignored the indicator. I heard it. I had these two things happen within like 2-3 days of each other. I saw this bottom and I said, this is a generational bottom. I need to get long Roku right here, right now. And 2 or 3 days later, the indicator got to an amount, like an extreme, where it's like, you need to get long, Knight, right now. And I just ignored both of those. And if I would have listened to either of those, the indicator or just my gut instinct, when I said, I think we're nearing a bottom, I'm going to start looking at individual stocks. I saw Roku at $60 and I said, you got to get long. I would have made, you know, if I would have gotten long Roku, I would have made over $300,000 in 6 weeks. If I would have gotten long various stocks, I would have made probably well over $200,000 in 6 weeks. And I didn't. And I'm very disappointed in myself for that. So another thing I want to point out is if my pre-coronavirus portfolio has actually performed extremely well now, which is a little disappointing. So because I was always doing better with my current portfolio than my pre-coronavirus portfolio, but now my pre-coronavirus portfolio actually would have made a return of 9.6% since February 21st. Now, I do want to note that it's like the biggest surprise thing here is Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Out of everything that I owned, Ollie's would have performed the best. And if there was if you said, Knight, just make minimal changes to your portfolio, the first two stocks I would have kicked would have been Ollie's and Five Below. I would not have expected them to do Ollie's. I wouldn't have expected Ollie's to do this well by now. Take a look at this. So this was February 21st, right? Then we had the coronavirus crash. I would have never expected this. Obviously, I liked Ollie's. That's why it's one of the handful of companies that I liked. I liked where it was at that point. I thought it was going to go up. But then you had this big old coronavirus thing shut down for 2 months. I understand that it's a beneficiary of other retailers shutting down, but the fact of where the stock is right now, I would have never predicted that. I guess maybe I'm too dumb. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. The point is, I could not have predicted that the stock would have ran this hard, this fast. So although it's really frustrating that I went through so much stress and time to try to perform better in this environment, and to kind of navigate the crash and the recovery. Obviously, I completely failed navigating the recovery. But the fact that I could have just done absolutely nothing and just closed my eyes and put on blinders and actually would have made more money by this point is quite frustrating. But at the same note, I have to be honest and say there's no way I could have predicted that Ollie's would have done that. I just can't predict that. So if you change that to 0 and say I would have, theoretically kicked Ollie's, well, now I would have only been up 1%. And if I would have kicked Five Below, which would have been the other one that I would have kicked, I would have been up like 2.4% or something. So, you got to be kind of realistic and pragmatic, although it is frustrating. So anyway, this is it. This is the conclusion video. I made about $18,000. I made 5.6%. The market's still down 8.7%. I made 14.3% alpha over the S&P 500 in the past 3-ish months or however long it's been. I did underperform my original portfolio, my pre-coronavirus portfolio, by about 4%. And that's it. So it's over. I'm going to try my best to just kind of let it out of my mind and say, okay, Knight, you did a great job navigating the downturn. You did an absolutely horrible job navigating the upturn, and they kind of roughly washed. You still made 18 grand or whatever. And okay, this is your first downturn ever. You still made a little bit of money. You still covered your expenses over the past couple months and then a little bit some. So let's just get on with our lives and try and make some money. Hope you guys have a great day.